Hi, everybody. Welcome to Nutrition and Blood Sugar. My name is Robin, Certified Nutrition Specialist. And tonight, I'm going to give you some tips and just talk about blood sugar and how to potentially balance that. Some of it you may know, some of it may be a reminder, and then some of it may be an aha moment for you. And then thereafter, we're going to have some stories of others who have had very great success in balancing their blood sugar. So with that being said, I'm going to just jump right in. There may be times that and if you do want to take a picture of the slide, snap it really quick because I may go through it. But if you see something and it makes sense or it speaks to you, go ahead and snap that photo of that slide. When it comes to blood sugar, and I said this, I am a nutritionist. That is what I've been doing for 14 years. And it is challenging for a lot of folks to balance their blood sugar and not understanding how. And so much of it has to do with what we eat. And then there's blood sugar challenges that come by way of autoimmune and the body not working as we would want it to work. But nutrition is still at the basis of this, and understanding how to manage your carbohydrates and how to combine foods appropriately. So I'm going to give you a quick lesson. I wish I could spend go deep into this, but I'm going to kind of give you an overview, but some nuggets that you can take away and use right away. So we're talking carbohydrate management. And so carbohydrates is an essential nutrient that our body turns into glucose and gives us energy. So there's complex carbs such as fruits and vegetables and whole grains. And these complex carbs are the ones that are least likely to spike our blood sugar. But they're also not the ones that we love the most, right? But I want you to understand how to manage and balance these. All right. So examples of complex carbs: lentils, beans, chickpeas, quinoa, oats, sweet potatoes, and then we have some of our fruits and vegetables. So these are complex carbs. And the complex carbs have natural sugar and fiber. And fiber helps us to have regular bowel movements. And regular bowel movements helps us with our digestive system and our immune system and helping us live well. So the complex carbs, natural sugar, and fiber does a body good, right? Those are the ones that are friendlier to our blood sugar. Then we have the simple carbs. And those are the ones that we like the most: the pies, the cookies, the cakes, found naturally in some fruits, some vegetables, milk products, processed and refined sugars, syrups, honey, the stuff we like, to be honest, right? But those are the things, the items that have the tendency to spike our blood sugar. When it comes to keeping our blood sugars minded and stable, there are some must-haves, some must-dos that I want you to be aware of. One of which is looking at portion sizes. And this gets a little bit interesting in that if you think about, let's say, having a bowl of cereal, a lot of times you're pouring it in the bowl and you're not really looking at the true serving size. So the true serving size of a bowl of cereal or on the package is usually 3/4 of a cup. But I put 1 cup for ease purposes. No, actually, it didn't change. It says, dry. Well, okay, it does say that. So when you're looking at serving sizes, let's say you're having a sandwich, 1 slice of bread really is a serving. So if you're having a sandwich with 2 slices of bread, if they're normal size pieces of bread, then you're really getting 2 servings, but it's 1 serving that may be beneficial if you're managing that blood sugar. And what I recommend in that case, there are pieces of bread that are smaller, and then there's some other ones that are sandwich thins that will give you that 1 serving amount. But nonetheless, when you're looking at serving sizes, think about what you're eating in your life and if you are in alignment with serving sizes. Because if you are eating any meal and it's more carbohydrate heavy than the plant foods or the good fats or the protein then you're likely to have that blood sugar off balance. So a bread or a half of a bun or half of an English muffin. I like to say this. Let's say you wanted burger and fries, turkey burger or Beyond Burger or whatever kind of burger you wanted, and you wanted fries, then you could wrap that burger with lettuce and have your fries. Or if you had your bun, then maybe you have vegetables on the side. So we're always looking at that balance, and oftentimes we're carbohydrate heavier than what our body can balance or manage. So when it comes to rice, half a cup to 1 cup, not much. But if you look at, again, what you're doing now on your plate versus the serving sizes that will help to balance your blood sugar, that might be shocking to you. Take a picture of that and keep this handy so that you can look at what you're doing and how you can potentially make some shifts. Next, I want to give you a mathematical equation and make it simple for you and a good rule of thumb. So when you're looking at carbohydrates, I'm going to say this a couple of times. We want to look for 6 and under. What does that mean, 6 and under? So here's the calculation. You look at a food, packaged food, piece of bread or tortilla chips or a carbohydrate. And let's say that it's listed, it has 10 grams of carbohydrates. Then you look at the fiber, because remember, fiber is good for you. So you take that carbohydrates and you divide it by the grams of fiber. So let's say that the food had 10 carbohydrates and the fiber was 5. You divide it and you come up with 5. Great. You're looking for foods that are 6 and under. So if you're doing beans, if you're doing lentils, if you're doing sweet potatoes, you're going to notice that they come in at 6 or less. But if you're doing a piece of pie or maybe even certain breads, they won't. Or oatmeal is going to come in 6 or less. Now, if you have a carbohydrate and there is no fiber, right? Then you know right off the bat that it is not the best one at all to balance the blood sugar. The more the fiber, the better. So that's a calculation. Take a picture of that. Go play around with the foods in your cabinet and you'll see or not see if they fall into that category. So 6 and under is what you are looking for, and that is the better of the carbohydrates. Protein and fat help to stabilize your blood sugar. What do I mean when I say that? So if you're eating something, check your plate. Have you on your plate also protein, chicken, fish, turkey, tofu, a protein source, and or a good fat, avocados, walnuts. When you do that, when you marry that, you're going to help to stabilize your blood sugar. So if you're going to have a bowl of oatmeal, a cup of oatmeal, then put some walnuts in there. I like to, if you do boiled eggs, do that. If you are plant-based, maybe you want some protein, plant-based protein shake on the side. You want to marry that with a protein or good fat. That is uber important, right? So the things I want you to take away, I'm going to repeat that. What I want you to take away is as follows. One is when you have your carbohydrate, you have also on your plate a protein and or a fat. That is snacks included, protein and a fat. You want to look at your serving size as well, keeping it to a cup or whatever the serving size is on the package. If there's a packaged food, keep it to the serving size. Also, keeping it to no more than 1 serving a meal. Yeah, try that, right? And then doing the calculation, looking at the type of carbohydrate to fiber ratio if you're staying 6 and below. Gosh, I wish I could stay and tell you more, but I want to get into some of our stories. What I will do is after, we call it the after party, I will be here to answer questions specifically with regards to blood sugar. But what I know is that it's a message you got to hear over and over again. Like you hear it once, maybe for some of you, I've even created nutrition plans and you still got to hear it because it leaves our brain, right? It does. We get something and we're out somewhere and something looks good and we eat it and we forget about adding some fat and it goes out the window. So stay close to us, stay close to the community, and we'll continue to inspire, enlighten, and share information. I'm going to stop my screen and I'm going to introduce you to a couple of folks. So I mentioned to you about protein, carbs, and fat. Completely important are fruits and vegetables, completely, because the nutrients in the fruits and vegetables help in so many ways on a cellular level to help balance out our bodies in more ways than you can imagine. We need about 7 to 13 servings a day, which sounds absurd and very difficult to get in its raw, authentic, non-tainted, non-pesticide form. So I'm going to introduce you to some folks that have found, I don't know, like I would call it a secret, but we consume fruits and vegetables in a very specific way, and they've had some really great results with regards to blood sugar. So let me come out of here and I'm going to introduce you to Laura. Laura, where are you? Unmute yourself. Got to unmute yourself. Got to unmute. Unmute.
Can you hear me?
There you are. Yes.
Okay. Amazing.
Thank you. So take it away. Just share your experience. We're talking about nutrition. You and I met and you had such a wonderful nutrition story. So go for it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, so my name is Laura Allen. I live in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm a speech pathologist by training, and I have 2 little girls, but really our health journey began about 10 years ago. We were a hot mess. I mean, we were struggling to get the nutrition that Robin just shared, and we were terrified of the future. So we were struggling with high cholesterol, seasonal allergies, couldn't kick a cold. My husband was eating a keto diet. He was overweight. We needed caffeine and sugar to get through the day. We needed that second cup of coffee at 3 o'clock. And we were in our late 20s and we just didn't feel good. I was struggling with an eating disorder. I was 8 weeks pregnant and terrified of the future. And my husband's a type 1 diabetic. He's been a type 1 diabetic since age 13. His mom is also a type 1 diabetic. And so, some people say disease runs in families. And so he just thought that this was his life sentence. And so really 10 years ago, I'm so grateful that it was a patient's mom that shared an easy way that simplified nutrition and helped bridge that nutritional gap that Robin was talking about, that 7 to 13 servings. We were not getting that done. My husband was not getting it done because he didn't like vegetables. 0. He ate 0 vegetables. He stayed away from fruits because he thought they were sugar. We know better now because of this community education like this. And so it was an easy way to bridge that nutritional gap. It was encapsulated produce. It was literally 30 fruits, veggies, and berries ground up and put into a capsule or a gummy. And for him, it made sense because he could swallow those capsules, not have to chew those veggies, and get the nutrition with very few carbs. And really, in a short period of time, our health went from desperate to thriving. And we started noticing feeling changes, waking up with energy. The planters warts on his feet disappeared. His daily blood sugar levels were better controlled. His A1C was coming down. It went from 7.6 to 6.6. And we just started feeling better. And his cravings were changing, which was huge. And we were learning is on your fork matters. So your DNA is not your destiny. It's the foods that we eat, and really specifically the plant nutrition that turns on and off those good and bad genes. And so that is what we were learning, and his diet was changing. And so really when we made that one simple change, it really was the catalyst to other lifestyle changes. And my husband's cravings were changing from the inside out. And so what he was putting on his plate was changing. So we are just so grateful for that one simple change. And today, the things that we've seen, the changes that we've seen, he no longer takes a Claritin daily. He no longer has high cholesterol because his diet, what's on his plate, was changing. He was eating, remember, a keto diet because that's how his endocrinologist told him to eat. we've learned a little bit along the way. And so he actually eats a plant-based, I like to say plant-focused diet about 85% of the time. He no longer takes any medication other than his insulin. And y'all, we just feel good. We have hope for the future. And another piece of our story, which is huge, y'all, as we know, disease runs in families. And so at 18 months old, our youngest was diagnosed with the antibodies for type 1 diabetes. And y'all, that diagnosis took our breath away. Mother-in-law's type 1, husband's type 1, and our daughter, 18 months old, they said she would need insulin within a year. Praise God, she's 9.5 and her A1C is normal. And I believe 100% it's the foods that we eat that have really been able to reduce that systemic inflammation, eat a diet that have balanced blood sugars, eat fiber rich, all those things that we know the research says matters. And so that is our story. My husband, absolutely, his A1C, I didn't mention that, it's a big deal, has come down from 7.6 to 6.6, and his daily blood sugar levels are better controlled. We love that encapsulated produce, simplified nutrition, and he loves drinking every single morning a complete shake. And it is amazing. It's the glycemic index of a piece of broccoli. And he literally, his endocrinologist, when he stopped drinking them, she printed out, he has some data he can look at. And he noticed that his blood sugar levels had those swings. And so he went back to drinking a complete shake every single morning because his blood sugar levels are better controlled. So that is our story. Your DNA is not your destiny. And the food at the end of your fork matters.
Matters. I love I took a little bit of notes. You said simplified nutrition. I mean, who doesn't want that? And I think that we get confused. There's just so much out there and just so much going on. What you said about being plant focused, like people ask me, are you all plant-based? I'm like, no, I'm plant-focused because sometimes I need, chicken or something, but understanding that being plant-focused, putting more plants on your plate and being able to manage your blood sugar and give your body what you need. When your body gets what it needs, it will do what it needs. When you talked about the A1C, just being able to put his body in balance, it shows in other parts of his body. So thank you so much. All things are possible, y'all. Next, I want to introduce you to Jennifer. And so Jennifer also has a story to share with us. And I like these stories that you're going to hear are folks that are taking encapsulated produce, which when I first heard about it, I was like, this is ridiculous. Are you kidding me? As a nutritionist, I'm like, this can't be. But for the past, 7 years, it's been my #1 recommendation because it works. And I want people to understand how it works and why it works. But Jennifer, share your journey and what happened with you and your blood sugar with relates to powering your nutrition. Are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. My health journey began in 2012 when I was hospitalized in ICU because my blood sugar was 650. I was given several different IVs, one of them being insulin, and became a type 1 insulin dependent diabetic. The night before I came home from the hospital, my vision became blurry. I could see objects, but I could not read. My sugar had been high for a very long time, and I didn't know it, which had caused sugar deposits to build up on the lenses of my eyes. I could not read, drive, check my sugar, or even give myself insulin for 2 weeks, and had to depend on other people to take care of me. This became a life-changing event for me as I completely changed my diet and began walking in order to keep my blood sugar under control. My regular doctor told me that I would be on insulin for the rest of my life. In 2016, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis in the lower half of my body. I could not stand up or even walk without being in a tremendous amount of pain. But let me tell you about what has helped me. I now eat 30 vine ripened fruits, vegetables, berries, 5 plant-based omegas, and low glycemic protein shakes every single day, which gives me, number one, increased energy and the ability to stand up 4 to 6 hours without pain, walk 3.5 to 4 miles throughout my day, and swim 36 laps in the pool every single morning. Number two, my regular doctor has decreased 3 of my insulin doses, and my A1C has decreased from a 6.2 to a 5.2. And number three, my rheumatologist has decreased one of my medications. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Stick to it, Jennifer. Thank you so much for that. I love it. I appreciate it. I always get just excited. I want to say that y'all, each one teach one. You all have stories that somebody on here is going to hear, they're going to share. It's going to make a difference in the lives of someone else. That is for sure. For sure. So thank you so much.